I first met Frank in 1992 when I first started working in what was then called the publications office. And my boss at the time was Paul Ware, who was also a photographer. So thus the first thing I knew about Frank was that he was a photographer. And he would stop by to chat with Paul every so often. And that was how I met him, when he stopped by. And of course, he took a lot of pictures for us over the years of commencements. And of course, as we were discussing before we got started today, he took photos of commencements so that he wouldn't have to march and wear a cap and gown. But you know, he gave us a whole library of additional commencement photos on top of the ones that Click has taken over the years. And every time there was some kind of a staff function, you know, there was the camera, and we have some photos of that for posterity. But thinking back, I feel like every time I saw Frank, it just kind of lit up the room a little bit, because I just knew that I was going to have a fun conversation whenever I saw him. And when we used to have staff luncheons every so often, I would maybe subconsciously try to make a point of sitting at Frank's table, because I remember a lot of those luncheons sitting next to him and you know, chatting about whatever. I can't even really remember what, but that wasn't really the point. Just, you know, I would always enjoy talking to him. And more recently, you know, every once in a while he would stop by if I had to send him an email about like what should we put in the next EE ad in Stripes or whatever. And you know, we'd always have a nice chat then too. So there's a lot I've learned about him since he left us that I didn't know. So I guess I only knew certain aspects of him, but we'll certainly miss him.
I've only known Frank for a couple of years, but I'll tell you what, sometimes you meet someone and you just think they got something special. We all have commented on Frank's humor and his warmth and his intelligence. Frank was capable of the most unusual facial expressions. Sometimes I'd feel stressed out and I'd go see Frank to talk to him about one thing or another, but I would leave his office like I'd left the weight of the world behind with Frank's jokes and his... Yes, he had the great gift of being able to connect with anyone. And I was so surprised to see him pass away. Thank you, Frank, for all you've done for so many people for so long.
I'd just like to say that when Bill and I came to Asia so many, many years ago, Dr. Frank Gualtieri was such an enthusiastic and friendly face. He took us on the most wonderful whirlwind tour of Tokyo. We were jet-lagged. I was in shock over Tokyo prices, and he took us for a day that made us feel so welcome. We could tell how much he loved Japan, how much his culture meant to him. And I would just like to thank him for making me feel so welcome. And I know that there are many, many other people who came here just like we did. And Frank took them out and made them feel comfortable and just made them feel like it's okay, we haven't made a mistake, and this is going to be a wonderful experience. We will miss him very much. Thank you.
Thank you. It may be that there was something that you wanted to say, but you felt a little shy about walking down this long aisle and standing up in front of all these people. That certainly is understandable. If that was the case, you will get an opportunity to share that memory with someone on a one-to-one basis. After this ceremony, we're going to leave the sanctuary and continue across the hall to the reception area. As Brent mentioned, Frank strongly supported the concept of 3 basic food groups, vanilla, strawberry, and chocolate. In honor of those sentiments, some wonderful people have prepared some desserts for us. After our final song, Chuck and I will proceed to the back of the chapel and greet each of you and direct you to the reception.